Good day, grade 11 students. So this is Sir Pierre, your virtual general mathematics teacher. So welcome to another lesson in general mathematics. In our previous lesson, we have learned about measurement, and our last discussion was about temperature conversion. And there we saw how we input the degree Celsius, the degree Fahrenheit, and those are what we call inputs. And then we apply a given rule using the formula, and then you get the output, which is what we converted. That idea is actually connected to our lesson for today. So you get your notebooks and pen ready, and feel free to pause this video whenever you need more time to understand the concept. So let us begin. So our lesson for today is lesson 5.1, the classifications of functions. Today, we will learn how to identify different types of functions. In here, you will discover that some functions will have straight line graphs. You will discover U-shape, V-shape, and others will have S-shaped curves. So by the end of this lesson, I want you to look at an equation or a graph and be able to tell what type function it is. So here are the lesson objectives. Just post this one, but I will not read them anymore so that we could proceed to our target. So let's begin with the short review, and the title is Function Match Up. So we will review five important terms here: the domain, range, function, graph, and ordered pair. So try to remember what, what each one means. So you may pause this video to match the terms with the correct definitions. So you may now start pausing the video so that you could answer this activity. Okay, we can now check. I hope you have paused these videos for you to have enough time. So are you now ready? So for the first one, the correct answer is domain. Remember that domain means the possible input values. What about range? Very good. Is your answer letter B? Because range means the possible output values. What about for the function? Did you answer letter C? Very good. So a function is a relation wherein each input has only one output. What about the next one? Graph is connected to letter A. So a graph is a picture that shows the relationship between variables. You know that one, right? And lastly, let's have the ordered pair. Of course, the remaining is letter D. So an ordered pair is written in the form XY, and it shows a point on the coordinate plane. Now let's have a quick check. Which of these terms refers to the inputs again? Correct. It is the domain. Okay. And what about the term that refers to the output? Very good. So it is the range. So before we study the different types of functions, we need to first understand what is a function. So let us begin with this basic idea. So a function is a relation wherein each input has exactly one output. So think of a function like a machine. You put in a number, and then the machine follows a certain rule. Then it gives you an answer. For example, if the rule is to multiply by 2, that's 2x, then what is your input? So you have to input, for example, 3. And what will be the output? So 2 times 3 will be 6, right? So that will be 6. So your input is 3 and your output is 6. So remember that in a given function, one input cannot have two different outputs. So it must be unique or distinct. Did you get it? So let's define now what is a domain. So the domain is the set of all possible input values. In a set of ordered pairs, the domain is made up of all the sets of x values. Okay? So I will proceed right away on the range. So the range is the set of all possible outputs in a set of ordered pairs. This corresponds to the y values. So remember that domain is all the set of x values while the range is all the set of y values. And this will lead us to the definition of an ordered pair. Because an ordered pair is written in the form xy. The first number is x and the second number is y. So for example, you have the given ordered pair 3, 5. So this is how we write the ordered pair. So this means that your x is 3 and your y is 5. Now, is 3 5 and 5 3 the same? Definitely they are not. In an ordered pair, the order matters. So you cannot just interchange your x and y values because it will be a different location on the graph when you put it on the Cartesian plane. Remember that. Okay? So the ordered pair is a way to show the exact location of a given point. So we can also use ordered pairs to check if a relation is a given function. So if there is no repetition on the x values or the domain, then it is a function. If there is a repetition, then it is not a function. Now let us check that one on this activity, function detective. So let us check your understandings. You have to decide whether each function is a function or not. Remember, a relation is a function if every one input value is paired to only one output value. In short, there should be no repetition on the x. Can the y repeat? Yes. Now let us observe this given relations. Can you classify if these relations are functions or not function? So what are you going to observe here? You look at the x values. Is there a repetition on the x values? So number one, all the x values are different. So therefore, this is a function. What about number two? Did you observe the repetition in x here? 1 and 1. So this does not pass the test. Therefore, this relation is not a function because x equals 1 appears twice with different outputs. The outputs are 2 and 6 respectively. Number 3 is a function. Correct. So just pause this video. Number 4 is function. Number 5 is not a function. Obviously, we have um, 2x equals 2 with two different outputs 4 and 6. So that's not a function. And lastly, in number 6, all inputs have only one output. So this is a function. So remember, same output, right? Is it okay? Same input with different outputs? It's not okay. Okay, so you should have the same output. That is a function. If you have different outputs, then that is not okay because we only consider one and only one output for a given function. Now, what about a graph? So a function can also be shown using a graph. That graph will help us to see how y changes when x changes. And the graph also show to us the direction, the shape, the intercepts, and the behavior of a given function. So graphs are very useful because we can easily see patterns. So a graph is made up of many ordered pairs. So each point has an x value and a y value. So when we plot the points, they can form either a straight line or a family of curve. So later, we will use those shapes to identify different function types. So plotting all these ordered pairs on the plane produces those kinds of graphs. Now for our graph challenge, so we need to classify each as a function or not a function. So for graphs, we use a vertical line test. So imagine drawing a vertical line through a graph. Now, if the line touches the graph only once at each x value, it is a function. While if a vertical line touches the graph more than once, then it is not a function. Remember our simple rule, one x value should only one have y value. That's why in the graph, it should only touch the graph once. So let us proceed with this activity. Please pause this video if you're having difficulty in trying to figure out. So what we're going to do is to draw multiple sets of vertical lines. So obviously, these pass the test. So this is considered a function. For the next problem, did it pass the test? Look at this one. The vertical line touches the graph more than once. So this is obviously not a function. So you may pause this video if you need to think this is a function. It passes the vertical line test. What about this one? Look at that one. When you draw a vertical line here, it crosses all the points. So therefore, this does not pass the test. So this is a not function. The next one, very good. This is a function. And the next one, this is not a function. Definitely 2 points on the graph did not fail the test. Okay? So it crosses the graph twice. So I hope you understand. Now, let us proceed to the different types of function. So I hope you already have classified what is a function. Now let us study the main types of function in this lesson. Actually, we have different types of functions such as the linear, quadratic, cubic, square root function, cube root function, and absolute value functions. And all of these will be part of our special lesson. And each one has a special equation and a graph shape. So let's proceed to the first type of function, the linear function. So from the word itself, the linear function is a straight line graph. From the word linear means straight line. And do not forget that the highest exponent of the variable is x. Of the variable x is 1. So in the given example, we have 2x plus 3. Now, let us try to show the characteristic of a linear function. So here are the characteristic. So in here, I'll just make it short in um, y is equal to mx plus b, which is the general form. Our m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So if the slope is positive, then the line goes upward from left to right. So this is a graph that shows a positive slope. If the slope is negative, then the line goes downward, okay, from left to right. So linear functions also have constant rate. So do not forget that. Okay? So I will not linger anymore on some of these um, concepts, but let us go into graphing a linear function. So suppose we have y is equal to 2x minus 1. Here are the steps in graphing. So first, we identify our um, y-intercept, which is b. So obviously, our y-intercept is -1. So the point corresponds to 0, -1. And it is located on this part of the graph. Next, we use m, which is the slope of the line or the steepness of the line. So this is our m. The slope means rise over run, which is m. And then that's 2 over 1. So this 2 over 1 means that the rise is 2 So you move 2 units up and then move 1 unit to the right. And when you connect these 2 points using the intercept, that one, that forms the straight line. Okay, so I cannot perfectly show it with you because it's very difficult to annotate using this Zoom meeting. But that's how you form the graph easily using the form y is equal to mx plus b, or the y form of the linear function. So let's proceed right away to the quadratic equation, or I mean function. So a quadratic function has the exponent of 2, and its standard form is y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. So its graph is called a parabola. So this is what a parabola looks like. It usually looks like letter U, but there you could also have an upside down U. So our easy clue, quadratic means x squared, and the result of the graph is a parabola. So focus on that. So how do we graph? Suppose we have y is equal to x squared plus 2. So first you identify the vertex. So the vertex is at 0, 2. So the points are also symmetric. When you choose values such as x equals -1, then your y substituting the value to the equation. So -1 times 2 plus 2. So that becomes 3. And then when you substitute it to 1, then 1 times 2 plus 2, then the answer is also 3. So plotting all of these points together with the vertex, then we form the U-shaped graph. Okay? So we draw now the parabola using the vertex and the 2 points. So let's plot first 0, 2. 0, 2. So this is the vertex. And then we have 1, 3 here. And then we also have -1, 3 here. Then you draw a smooth curve connecting the vertex. So let that one. And since the graph of a quadratic function is continuous, do not forget to put the two-headed arrow. So that is how we simply show the graph. Okay, so do not forget that the turning point of the parabola is called the vertex. So that is how it looks like. Now, let us talk about the transformation of the quadratic equation. So when we say transformation, we move or change the graph of a quadratic function. So the general form is f of x, or the general form transformation is f of x is equal to a, the quantity x minus h squared plus k. So say for example, we use a graphing app such as the Desmos app to illustrate the transformation of f of x is equal to x squared. So I have prepared here already the Desmos. So look at the graph of f of x is equal to x squared, and we will transform it. So look at this one. Let us transform it when we make it an f of x is equal to x squared plus 1. So the graph moves upward, right? From red to blue. So did you see that one? So this is what you call as vertical shift of the graph. So the graph shifted vertically 1 unit upward based from what we see here. What about for the next one? Look at that one, from the red to the green graph. We call this one horizontal shifting. So in the given example, it is an x minus the quantity x minus 5 squared. So it means that the graph shifted 5 units to the right. So when the unit, since it is an x minus age, you invert. So if a negative 5 would mean positive. It goes to the right. But a positive 5 would mean it goes to the left when you shift it. So it's a different thing for the age value, but for the k value, it it remains with the direction. So if it's positive, it goes to the right. If it's negative, it goes to the left. Now, look at another transformation. So there will be a reflection across the x-axis when we put a negative sign on this part. So look at the red one and let us show the reflection. So did it reflect downward? Yes. Next type of transformation is what we call the vertical stretch. So there will be a vertical stretch of the graph if we will put a letter A value beside your so let's make it 2. This is typographical. So we have f of x is equal to 4x squared. So look at that one. It is a vertical stretch. So it was stretched because it became taller and narrower. Did you get it? And then we also have the vertical compression. So for the vertical compression, so we put an A which is between 0 and 1. Like 1/2, 1/3, 1/4. It should be a proper fraction. If you're putting an A greater than 1, then there is a vertical stretch. Then a vertical compression would mean a wider graph. Okay? So the graph becomes wider when there is a vertical compression, and the graph becomes taller and narrower when there is a vertical stretch on the graph. So remember that even a graph moves or changes direction, it is still a quadratic function. So these are the different types of transformation of the quadratic function. Now, let's move on to the definition of a cubic function. So a cubic function has the highest exponent, which is 3. And the simplest example is y is equal to x cubed. So its graph is like an S-like shape. So easy clue, do not forget cubic means x cube, and the shape of the graph is an S-shaped curve. I will not linger anymore on these characteristics. These are very technical. We do not have time to discuss this one. So I'll be proceeding now to the transformation because we have to focus on this one. So the general transformation formula is f of x is equal to a, the quantity x minus h cubed plus 3. So again, we will be using the Desmos app to illustrate the different types of transformation here. So I also have prepared here for x cubed, we have the basic function. And look at this one. So we added 2. So there will be a vertical shift 2 units upward. So again, look at that one. It shifted 2 units up. Okay? So remember that for the k value, if I make this one negative, then it will shift 2 units down. But for the age, look at this one. The age value, the one that is near your x. The age value is a different one. So for the horizontal shift, when it is a negative, it means it will move to the right. Okay, let's check that one. Did you see it? It moves 3 units to the right. Okay? Now, if I will make this positive, so just make it the opposite. Then this positive 3, which means it will move to the left of the original graph. So you see the age transformation. What is the effect of negative age? It is the opposite of the effect. I hope you understand. Now, for the reflection across the x-axis, look at that one. If I put a negative, it will reflect across the x-axis. And then, for the vertical stretch, the graph became narrower again. Okay, so the stretch means the graph became narrower and taller. Okay, that's the vertical stretch. And for the vertical compression, we input a value between 0 and 1, or a 1/2, a 1/3, 1/4, 3/4, for as long as it is a proper fraction. Then there will be a vertical compression on the graph. So I hope the Desmos app was helpful for us to better understand the transformation of this given cubic function. Now let us proceed now to the next type of function. Let's have the square root function. So a square root function contains a square root symbol, and the basic function is y is equal to the square root of x. I think this is typographical as well, so it should be a square root of x. So easy clue, square root, you just see the square root. So its graph starts at the origin and the curves moves towards the right. So look at the graph. It's like a half parabola going to the right. So example, y is equal to the square root of x minus 4. Now let us proceed to the domain and the range of the square root function. So for the x values, it must all be 0 or positive. So the domain is x is greater than or equal to 0. And the outputs are also 0 or positive. So the range is y is greater than or equal to 0. Because we cannot input a negative value because it will be imaginary, right? Because the square root of -1 is imaginary. So the domain and the range must all be positive. For the intercepts and behavior and symmetry, I will not linger on this anymore because we wanted to focus on the transformation of the square root function. And given this general form of the transformation, we have f of x equal to a, the square root of x minus h plus k. So let's have the vertical shift first. Again, what is the effect of k? It either moves to the right or left. If it's positive, then it moves to the right. If it's negative, then it moves to the left. The age effect is an opposite. If you see a -1, it will move upward. If you see a +1, it will move the graph downward. So let us I also have prepared here the Desmos app for the square root function. So observe this one, a +3, which means the graph will shift 3 units up. When I make this one minus, then the graph will move 2 units downward. For the age value, input it beside your x, then look at -2, it moved to the right. But when I make this one +2, the graph will move from there. So it will move to the left. So I hope this is helpful for you. Okay? Next. Look at that one. When I put a -1, it will reflect across the x-axis. Next. When I put a 2, then the graph will experience a vertical stretch. While this one will be a a vertical compression. Okay? So it follows the same pattern with the previous graph. So I'll leave this one. Let's proceed again to the next type of function, which is the cube root function. So the cube root function uses the cube root symbol, and the basic function is y is equal to the cube root of x. So unlike square roots, cube roots can use negative numbers. So you can input negative numbers there. There is no restriction on that. For the domain and the range of the cube root function, All of the real numbers are considered. That's why there's no restriction. Comparing it to the square root, we cannot input a negative value in square root, but in cube root, negative inputs are allowed. So for the graph of the cube root function in terms of the intercept, the cube root graph passes through the origin and it's like an S shape like the cubic function, and it increases from left to right. It looks similar with a cubic graph, as I told you, but it grows more slowly. So in cubic, it is steeper as it moves from the origin, but in cube root function, it becomes flatter as it moves away from the origin. So that's the exact difference of cubic function from a cube root function. But I will not linger anymore on those definitions. Let's talk about the transformation of the cube root functions. Using the general transformation formula, f of x is equal to a, the cube root of the quantity x minus h plus k. Again, we have the same effect. A positive k will move to the right, will shift the graph to the right, and a negative k would shift the graph to the left. But for the h, the negative h here would mean the opposite. If you have a plus 4, then it will move to the left. Then it will move to the right when it is a negative. Sorry, correction. It's a positive k, it will move upward. And when it's a negative k, it will move downward. So I already got confused for that. So I stand corrected for the k value. It's a movement from upward or downward. But look at this one. There's an additional. This time for the cubic function, it is allowed to have. So there is a reflection across the y-axis. So let's consider that fifth one later. So I'll exit this one. Let's exit this part. Let's go on into the sample cubic function. So look at that one. So first, let's have a positive 3. So it will move 3 units upward. So again, when I make this one negative, it will move the graph or shift the graph downward. So that is what you call the vertical shift. For the horizontal shift, you add it beside a positive 4 would mean going to the left, right? So did you see it? A negative 1 would mean there is a shift, horizontal shift going to the right. Okay, so that's totally the opposite. Look at the reflection across the x-axis, the violet one, the red to violet. And then look at the vertical stretch. That's the vertical stretch. So the graph became taller. Okay. And then we have the vertical compression. It became, and then for this one, this is different because in a a cube root function, there is a reflection across the y-axis. Okay. So I put the negative part on that side. Now we will leave the cubic function. We will proceed now to the next one, which is the absolute value function. So as I've told you, if we have an S curve, just like the cube root function and the cubic function, um, the absolute value function follows a V-shaped graph. Okay? So the absolute value function uses the absolute value bars. So the parent function is usually y is equal to the absolute value of x, and it clearly shows a V-shaped graph. So the lowest point of the graph is the vertex. So do not forget that absolute value would mean a V-shaped graph. Now let us focus on the transformation of these absolute value. It follows the same rule. A positive k would mean a shift, a vertical shift, either upward or downward. A negative h would mean to the right, and a positive h would mean to the left. It will always be the opposite using the horizontal shift. There is also a reflection across the x-axis, a negative one, and then a vertical stretch or a vertical compression depending on what you're going to input. If you input an A, greater than 1, such as 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then that is a vertical stretch. If you input a value between 0 and 1, so it means that's the A is in between 0 and 1, meaning a 1 half, 1/3, 3/4, or an improper fraction, then we will consider a stretch or I mean a compression. Okay? So let us go to the Desmos app that I have prepared. Remember this one, -3. So this will shift the graph downward. Okay? That's the vertical shift. Let's have the horizontal shift. A +2 would mean, is it left or right? Very good. It is left. Then a -1 will mean a reflection across the x-axis. And 2 is a vertical what? Stretch, because it make the graph taller. It made the graph taller and narrower. And a vertical compression would mean it made the graph wider. I hope you understand. Now, let us summarize everything using this comparison. So let's review the easiest clue. A linear is a straight line. A quadratic is a U-shaped parabola. While the cubic is an S-shaped curve. The square root starts at 1 point and curves right. And the cube root is a gradual S-shaped curve. The absolute value is a V-shaped curve. Now, let's have a quick game. So I'll say the shape and then name the function. Straight line. Very good. It's linear. V-shape. Absolute value. U-shape. Quadratic. S-shape. Yeah, it could be cubic or cube root. So look at the graph carefully. Okay. What about a graph that starts at 1 point and moves to the right? Very good. It is a square root function. Now, to better understand, so that I would know if you really understand, let's have this function. Frenzy, spot the equation. So let's classify each function as linear, quadratic, cubic, absolute square root, or cube root. What's the answer? Linear, because the highest exponent is 1. Next, absolute value, because of the absolute bar, number 3. Correct. The highest exponent is 2, so it's quadratic. The next one, there's the cube root symbol. So obviously, this is a cube root function. Then we also have the square root function. So sometimes you do not need to graph the equation. You just look at the graph and it will give you the clue itself. Let's have more practice. Number 1, very good. It's a cube root because of the cube root symbol. Number 2, it's a first degree equation. So this is linear. Number 3, very good. This is cubic. The highest exponent is 3. And the next one, obviously, it is a square root function because of the presence of the square root symbol. And the absolute var would indicate a absolute value function. Now, let us proceed to activity number 4. So, graph quest, name the function. The graph is a straight line, so therefore this is a linear function. Next. So the graph is U-shaped, so therefore we have a parabola here. So this is a quadratic function. Next. Very good. This is a cubic function. Look at the S shape. There's no gradual shape of S shape. So this is a cubic function. Next one. The V shape, the absolute value function. So our lesson, what about this one? Correct. The graph starts from 1 point and the curve goes to the right. So this is a square root function. So remember that this lesson reminds us that functions connect numbers and patterns. Different functions also show different kinds of change. Now, which of the functions you can easily recognize? And which one is still confusing with you? Write all of your reflections on your notebook. So before we end, let's review. Do not forget that a function gives one output for every input value. The domain contains all the x values and the range contains the y values. For the ordered pairs, check the x values. And for the graphs, use the vertical line test. Remember these function shapes, okay? Um, for the graphs, we have linear straight line, quadratic U shape, cubic S shape. Square root starts at one point and curves right. And the cubic root is a gradual S shape. And for the absolute value, it is our favorite V shape. Okay? For the examination of the form of the function, when you see an x, then that's linear. An x squared is quadratic. An x cubed is cubic. The absolute value bar shows the absolute value function. The square root symbol